you know, we were doing so many things well, and just a couple of errors, you know, and we served 2 balls out with, you know, in the 20s, and then there was a play where, you know, we actually got a pretty good touch on a block, and the ball just kind of popped up right in between 2 players, and you know, I go, no, you go, and we kind of botched that play, and then made a bad set to, you know, put it over, and you know, just that's all it takes, you know, and suddenly we find ourselves on the wrong side of that set, and you know, just I thought during the whole season we were winning on executing some of those little plays, and just couldn't quite make them in a couple of big moments tonight. So I thought that was it, you know. And then ultimately, I thought Stanford did a really good job executing a little bit of a nuanced game plan against us. Offensively, they gave us a different look than what we'd seen on film from them for quite some time. And I thought that was a good adaptation that they'd made in the time since we played them at BYU, and then the time that they played us here. They'd modified their offense a little bit based on some of the ways we were defending them, and we certainly couldn't catch up to them in the first set. And then they got some stuff going there in the fourth that kind of kept them in it.
I think there's anything to the law of averages where it's just tough to keep beating a good team. Yeah.
Sure. You know, the thing that I liked about it was just the fact that they'd been on the road for a long time. I mean, those guys have been away from Stanford for 9 days now, I think, you know, and they still have school and tough flights, had to play another play-in match, and, you know, and so for them to be able to come up with energy and to do what they did was pretty impressive. And then just the fact that what the residual thought in their mind was when they play BYU, BYU makes plays and we win, you know, and for them to kind of overcome that kind of mentally too was really big for them. But like you say, yeah, you know, we like our number in the series. We just lost 1 of 3 at the wrong time.
This was one of the best matches we've seen Taylor have. But then at the end of that 5th set, 2 back row attack options or opportunities, strong triple block against him in both of those. Do you think it became too predictable there at the very end?
You know, on one hand, yes. On the other hand, it's Taylor, you know, and so you're not going to not set that guy because, you know, we feel like he can do, you know, he can make those plays for us. But they did a nice job defensively, for sure. And perhaps we did become a little bit predictable. It was a rough match for us physically. You know, one of our guys was kind of a little foggy after getting hit in the head with a ball, Tim, the entire night. And I think that affected him a little bit. And then Hatch hurt his ankle on a play where we went out, and you know, in that last rotation, he couldn't really be explosive there, and then Osway actually got hit under the net and was a little kind of damaged himself, and so it was just this unfortunate series of events, you know, kind of took us out physically too. And you know, it's like, all right, who do we set? We're going to set the best player on the floor and see what he can do.
Yeah. Coach, just to follow up on that, because you said Tim was a little foggy after being hit in the head, was there at all any concussion protocol that he had to go through before he was able to return on the court? Or?
I don't
know. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I simply don't know.
Okay. And just on one final question on Taylor Sander, you know, you've been around BYU men's volleyball really since its inception. You know, do you think that he's the best player in the program's history?
It's pretty hard to quantify.
Yeah.
We've had some wonderful players come through the program. Certainly he's on my short list,
yeah.
You know, count those guys on one hand, and he's on that, you know, on that hand you're counting on.
What does it say about the program that you've been to this tournament now 2 years in a row moving forward?
I think it says 2 things. One is that Taylor is a really nice player, and he's carried us a lot. The other thing I think it says is that our program is in great shape, and we expect to be back here a bunch. I think we're building this nice kind of legacy for our program, and the players that we're attracting and the kind of following that we have at BYU has been remarkable. And you know, I like our chances going forward. It's going to be hard, you know, like it is every year, because there's so many good players in our league and so many good teams. But you know, I think, you know, we've earned this spot for the last 2 years. Obviously, it'd be nice to have a little bit different result.
What do you think of the atmosphere here? The BYU fans, the Stanford fans, and just the general community here packing the house?
You know, it was great. It was loud, and you know, I have to think that the people that watched this match for sure got their money's worth. I can't remember a semifinal that was this, you know, tightly contested and played at such a high level. And you know, it was fun to see a big crowd. And you know, I know not everybody was there to see BYU and Stanford, but for sure they got a great show.
When you look back at this match, what will you remember?
You know, last year I was feeling devastated at this point, and I was absolutely crushed. And I've got a much more, I don't know, a deeper sense of peace this time around. I don't know how to describe it exactly. The thing that I'm going to remember is just that, you know, we came out and we played as hard as we could. And, you know, a few little things didn't go our way, and it's not, I'm finding that it's not perhaps my style to lament, oh, if only we'd have done this, if only we'd have done that. You know, I'm going to remember this season for what I think was just the fact that we did what we did with a mix of personnel that, you know, we put one guy on an All-American roster, and everybody else was just kind of these journeyman players that worked hard every day and got a lot better. A lot of guys unrecruited by anybody else that just showed up to BYU and got after it. And just that's the thing that I'm going to remember is I thought this team overachieved. I thought it was going to be really tough for us to make it back to the Final Four. And, you know, to come this close to playing in the final, again, I'm really, really proud of what the boys did over the course of the year.
When you were up replacing a player like Sander, he had almost half the kills for the team. What do you do to
Yeah, I do nothing. It's impossible. You know, we'll just train the guys that are in our gym and try and be good with, you know, I really am optimistic about some of the players that are coming in, but you don't, plain and simple, replace a guy like Taylor ever. They come along, you know, once every 10 or 15 years. And so, you know, it's, you know, it's not only hard, it's impossible.
Anything else for Coach?
Thanks, guys. I just, last thing, I just appreciate the fact that you're here covering men's volleyball. And I just love that somebody's out there doing it. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.